Hi, Dan. Let's see. Let's see if we can, Chris, can you hear me? Dan?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay. Dale, how you doing? Dale, can you hear me?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got it. I'm just adjusting I'm toggling my controls here. So we got a lot going on. Mr. Carney, how are you?
I don't know if he heard you.
Yeah, Mr. Carney, can you hear me? John? I don't. Okay. Christy, can you hear me? There you are. Okay. I couldn't read it.
I couldn't either. I looked at it backwards.
Well,
John could hear you.
so I've learned that if you have a picture or your screen is blurred, you can't hold anything up to show anybody.
I think John can hear us now.
I don't know. It'll work on it.
Hello,
Council Vincent, how are you?
good, how are you? Hi, John Connie, how are you?
He just, I don't think he's hearing.
I don't think he remembers me.
I was Nova Scotia.
It was disheartening, but it was good at the same time. It was nice to be there, but you know, we're not gonna be able to go up at all until the fall, so
Oh.
that was disheartening. But it's getting done, it's getting put back together, and it's thankfully getting put back together correctly this time. The people that originally built it did a I can't even say the words I want to say, job on it, but it's being fixed now, so eventually we'll be back up there.
Connecting to audio.
Looking for Robert. I don't know if he's joined.
Yep.
Looks like John Kerry is having trouble connecting his audio.
Yeah, John Connie, he is having, yeah, there he goes.
There he is.
Can you hear everything now, John?
Can you hear us,
Yeah.
John?
Thank you. I just figured it out.
Okay.
That's good. So let me get my handy dandy agenda. And I'm looking, I think we got the CC on, speaking English. Yeah,
Here's Rob.
Hey folks, sorry I'm late.
no, that's okay. We were waiting, we were holding up the whole show for you.
Let's go.
I'm looking. All right. So Robert, you all set? We can go ahead and start, call the meeting to order. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic and
and
one nation under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
was
with
liberty
liberty
and justice
and
for all.
justice for all.
All right. We're going to take a little bit of a deviation from what we normally do. If you took a look at the agenda, I just want to say good evening to everybody. Thank you for coming. And welcome to the Veterans Advisory Board meeting for May of 2023. The past year, as a chairman, I've learned that there is definitely a rhythm and a tempo to the advice that this board offers to the town council and the town administration. The year began with a dedication to veterans at Veterans Field, and I want to thank Dan and Lois Benjamin for the hard work that they did to put that together. Well done, and I like the background. Their enthusiasm landed Lois's picture on the cover of the 2023 Town of Wakefield Annual Report. Congratulations, Lois.
Thank you.
There's a picture that doesn't come through, but there it is.
That's okay. Hey, Lois, I just want to let you know, you put Martha Stewart to shame.
Thank you.
She's on the cover of Sports Illustrated magazine.
Yeah, she is.
So your photograph is much better than hers. Thank you very much. There was another item that was carefully accomplished this year, and that was the town's ability to obtain funds necessary to begin the repairs long overdue on the Soldiers and Sailors Monument. The effort that took the assistance of many in town include Nancy Bertrand, Joseph Conway, the Department of Public Works, Jay Panett, and previous veterans on the Veterans Advisory Board, and the Capital Planning Committee. And then finally, it could not have happened without the wisdom and support of our Veterans Advisory Board liaison, Counselor Robert Vincent. The funds to repair the monument were approved at last night's town meeting in accordance with the, to give us a full estimate for repairs and to fund the full estimate for repairs that were given to us in December of 2022. And we used the ARPA funds to go ahead and get that estimate. The monument has not been maintained by the town since 1902, when it was initially unveiled and presented to the town. Bob, thank you very much for the work that you did, and those that supported the efforts to obtain the grants and to proceed with the repairs. That's a terrific job. Thank you very much. Also want to say, as I walk down Main Street, I'm inspired to see the banners that are hanging on the lampposts. Each has many of the 161 fallen or captured in battle. Those lives will never be forgotten, and I'm reminded that our freedom is fragile. I'm grateful for their sacrifices and their service to the nation. And finally, before we get to business, I'd like to congratulate Bill Curran. I'm not sure if he may be coming in a little bit late, but congratulations to Bill Curran on becoming Wakefield's newest firefighter. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Good job, Bill. And when you see him, please give him a high five and thank him for what he's doing in town. He was actually there on Sunday during the fire at the pizza shop. Okay. Robert, you got your attendance? Bob?
Yep. It looks like we have everybody here except for Joe and Bill.
Okay. So new member introductions. I'd like to just go, we've got 2 new members to the board. Congratulations for getting appointed and applying. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask Chris Olson to quickly introduce himself And then followed by Dale, if you could do that, because these are two new faces here. Chris, you got it.
Sure. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Chris Olson, I've been a Wakefield resident for 9 years in June. I've got 2 kids in the school system here, both at Walton Elementary School right now.
Okay, and you're recently retired?
I'm actually active duty in the military still. I have no plans of retiring. This has been my career for 23 years. I have 20 years active. I came home from my most recent deployment about 6 weeks ago. I spent just shy of a year in Saudi Arabia and on the Arabian Peninsula. So I've been home since the first week of April. I think I applied to this posting my first day home.
So I'm gonna guess you're either Army or Air Force.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Army. Yeah, I was
Okay.
stationed on an Air Force base though.
And where in Saudi Arabia?
I was at Prince Sultan Air Base, just outside of the capital.
Okay, okay. I was down in Kamis Mashat.
Okay.
Chris, don't forget to apply for your welcome home bonus. if you have it.
I'm done. Already done.
Okay,
I think it's my 5th one.
there you go.
Any questions for Chris?
Thank you for your service, Chris.
Definitely.
Thank
I
you.
already thanked him.
Dale, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm a Wakefield resident of about 37 years. Both my children went through the Wakefield school system, and they're grown and gone now. If I sound strange, it's because of the allergies. It's really playing havoc. I'm excited to be on the board. I think this board can do some great things for the veterans and vice versa. I'm looking forward to the 2 years that I have going forward on the board.
Okay. Dale, thank you very much for joining the board, and congratulations on your appointment. Dale's no stranger to what we've done. He's been with us actually for the past couple months. So what I'd like to do now is I deliberately put in the email that I sent out the terms that we have. But more important, I'd like to just confirm what we would like to do for the leadership positions. And I will start the conversation. I'm willing to be the chairman of the Veterans Advisory Board for another year. But I need to have somebody make that motion, and it needs to be seconded. We
I'll
can,
make a motion that you stay on, Paul, as a fearless leader.
Second.
okay.
You've done a fine job, so might as well
All
keep
those,
it
all those in favor?
Aye.
up. Right.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have, okay, we have 2 that are not here. I would, okay, now that I'm chair, I guess I can nominate the vice chair. Marion, I'm going to nominate Marion to be the vice chair for a 2nd year. I don't want to burn you out. Okay. It's been a good team, but I put a motion on the floor to have Miriam Dennehy as the vice chair for the Veterans Advisory Board.
Second.
Christie seconds. Are there other nominations? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of Marion as the vice chair?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
No, just kidding.
Hearing none. I'll go easy on you, Marion.
I know.
And the last position, we like to call the secretary. The town calls it the clerk. but I would like to nominate Robert for the position of secretary for his final year on the board. Unless he
Second.
decides to do it again.
Well, I'll stay on the board. I just don't, after this one more year, that'll be 3+ years of taking notes. I think that's enough. Somebody else could do it.
Okay. So we have a motion to, we have a second from Christie for Robert as the secretary for the board. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations. So we have, we've set the leadership for the Veterans Advisory Board for 2023 and 2024. Congratulations. Okay, there is a concern that I have before we get started with the VSO report, and I'd like to do this up front. I have some dates in the email that I sent out earlier that are concerned. The big concern that I have, and I'd like to take a vote on it for the town council, is Veterans Day 2023. Veterans Day 2023 falls on Saturday, the 11th of November. And the federal holiday is Friday. I have spoken with the school committee, and I've spoken with the assistant superintendent. Best guess at this time is Friday will be a school holiday, meaning the assemblies and things that they have at the Galvin will be done on Thursday, just like it was in 2022. I've spoken to other people, and I would like to say there's two options here that we have. We can do the Veterans Day program for the town, make a recommendation to town council that it's done on Friday, the federal holiday, or we can continue with the tradition of doing the Veterans Day ceremony on the 11th day at the 11th hour of the 11th month on Saturday.
I'd like to keep it on Saturday,
Well,
on the 11th.
so we have a motion
That's
to
what
keep
it's
it.
supposed to be.
Okay, so Miriam is putting a
That's just
motion
my
out
vote.
on the floor to keep it on Saturday, keep it 11/11/11.
When we had it on the school day where the kids were in school, like on a Thursday, you're getting a much bigger audience and a more of a reflective, I think, exposure of military service to the kids, our future, who we're looking at to go be recruited into the programs, all the different branches. And so I just think it might be an idea to do it on Thursday because the kids will be off Friday and Saturday. And they're gonna all break away. The family's gonna go away for the weekend. You're gonna lose, you have a smaller audience if we do it on Saturday. I mean, I'll do it either way, but this is a recommendation to have a larger audience. I think that Thursday might be the day to do it at the auditorium.
Okay, any other discussion or comments?
I mean, do folks agree that that might be the case, that, you know, we'd have a larger audience or a small, on a Saturday, you're really gonna beat the drum to get folks there on that particular day, on Saturday. We can still emphasize the importance of the 11th hour and the 11th day on the 9th. 9 and 1 is 11, so. But seriously, if you want a larger audience, I would suggest Thursday. If you don't care about the size of the audience, then Saturday on the actual day could work. We need a smaller location, maybe Civic Cal Center.
Dave, I assume that those people that would be in the audience would be students,
Absolutely, right there in the school.
right? And are they required to go to that, or is it an open period for them, or how does
In
that
the
work?
past, it's been, they all went as classrooms down to the auditorium for the half hour, 45 minutes.
So for all from the school, they stopped classes and send
Galvin
kids
School,
down.
yes, yes.
Well, I guess I was leaning towards Marion's thought of the 11th, but we need to do so much more to wake up Wakefield people to the military and veterans and what they do and how important they are. I vote for going with the Thursday.
Well, the Thursday is 2 days off the objective there.
Well, they won't be in the school on Friday, but we can certainly make the emphasis on it. Because of it being a Saturday, it's gonna be very difficult. We certainly can't do it on Monday. But
Well-
Thursday, I don't know.
That's
Do we
right.
know if the school is doing anything themselves?
The Galvin Middle School does an assembly on Thursday. They actually do 2 assemblies on Thursday because they can't fit all the students in the Memorial Hall.
Okay, so they do that themselves, and what we're talking about is the town?
Yeah, what I'm missing is the town ceremony has always been on a day when the schools are closed. It's always.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So
So that's,
the separate thing that I think, Dave, you and I have attended before for the kids, and they invite some veterans to sit in the front row, that's completely separate from what we're putting on.
right,
Okay,
and that's the
then-
school program, that's not the
Right.
town program. So we're talking about 2 different things here. I'm talking about the town program, you're talking about the school program.
I
So,
just didn't think we'd have that opportunity. Saturday be fine with me. As a matter of fact, we could do, but we're really gonna have to promote it throughout the town on flyers, the newspaper, WCAT. And I think if we get aggressive with the marketing of it, we can fill that auditorium.
We gotta find out if the item publishes on Friday.
Well, they could, yeah, that's a good point, yeah, and then, put a full page, something for the Veterans Corner.
I don't know, I'm a traditionalist. I think 11, 11, 11, and that's what it should be. When I was a kid, it was Armistice Day. Now it's
Yeah,
Veterans
yeah,
Day,
yeah,
but it's like moving the 4th of July to the 3rd of July. I don't go with that.
okay, I just didn't know if we'd have access to the school on that Saturday, but I guess we will.
yeah, like we said, Thursday, the school is gonna be putting on their own ceremonies. So it's not the town ceremonies, so we wouldn't be able to use the school if they're putting on their own ceremonies. So I would say do it on the day.
Well, it was, in the past, I thought we did it with them, we integrated it in with the school.
I don't
and the
remember
town.
that. They did all their own thing,
Yeah.
Dave.
Okay, all right, well,
I think you're liable to get
That's what
a
I remember.
5 years, I don't know.
I think you-
The
If you want-
the Galvin, hey, David, the Galvin typically does Veterans Day and the high school does the Memorial Day Assembly.
Okay, all right.
Okay. My apples and oranges are getting mixed up here. That's fine, Saturday, I'm for it, I'm all for it, but it's gonna take some aggressive marketing, which we can do.
I think you're liable to, rather than have it on a Friday, have it on the Saturday, you're liable to get more people, only for the fact that some people are working.
On
Veterans
Friday,
Day,
yeah,
one of
yeah.
the
Some
50th,
people don't get it
where
off.
you take it off, you get the day after Thanksgiving.
Saturday's fine, I agree. At this point, sold.
So it's gonna be a unique ceremony. Don't know what the venue is just yet. But from what I'm hearing, we should stick to the traditional 11, 11, 11. So can we, the motion on the floor is to keep it at 11, 11, 11, which
Right.
happens to be Saturday.
Right.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye,
Any opposed? One opposed?
Unopposed, yep.
Okay.
I think you're missing an opportunity to talk to the youth of Wakefield and
But-
you won't get them on the Saturday.
maybe we'll get invited to that ceremony. And we can, a couple of veterans could go in and maybe do a little speaking there. I'll
I mean,
volunteer for that.
I think
Yeah.
what you're missing, Dale, is the fact that the students are doing the program on Thursday. We wouldn't be doing the program on Thursday. The students are doing it.
but
So,
what is,
I
what
mean,
is,
we're not missing an opportunity because it's
Oh.
not a program.
if
Unless
we
they
can be,
invite us to come, it's
Unless-
not our program.
sure, no, but they need to know, perhaps we're interested in attending, okay, and speaking.
I agree with that. So, Rob, you got the vote? You got it?
Got it.
Okay. In terms of scheduling, I'd like to kind of bundle this into one item. The second note on the email, and that is, as I looked at the schedule, Thanksgiving, the Tuesday before Thanksgiving is the third Tuesday of the month of November. And then I am also taking a position here to offer an opportunity not to meet during school vacation.
Which is when?
So in the email that I sent out, the February vacation, the third Tuesday is February 20th, and that falls right into the middle of the school vacation week. I'm proposing, like we did this past year, to move the meeting to February 27th, which would be the fourth Tuesday. March remains the same. And then April,
February 28th, you mean?
Tuesday, February
28th,
28th.
okay.
It's also,
No,
yeah,
27th.
it's the 27th, Marion.
Okay. My calendar's all
2024.
off for 2023 then.
Yeah, you go.
Yeah. And
He's talking about 24, though. We
Oh,
already
you're
had
talking about next year.
I'm talking about 2024.
Well, then it is off, because I'm in 23.
Right, but the 20th of February is.
Got it now.
school vacation.
That's the Canadian calendar.
That's what it is. That's what it is. And
The same rule would apply in April. Okay, and if you look at April, the third Tuesday in April is the 16th of April, which is the day after Patriots Day and the Boston Marathon, and that's also school vacation week. So
So
my
should we push it
proposal
to the 23rd,
would be to move it to the fourth Tuesday in April,
the 23rd of April?
the
Okay.
23rd of April, correct. And that's just to give folks that have a connection to schools, either with
Okay.
children, students, or a significant other, perhaps as an administrator or teaching, the time off. that
Would
they-
that 3rd of April be election day in Wakefield?
That's okay. We can have a meeting on the evening of the 23rd of Election Day, unless you want to go to the results.
Paul, on Thanksgiving month, this November, did you say the 28th or the 14th of November? In lieu of Thanksgiving?
So November, I'm looking at Thanksgiving Day is the 23rd of November,
2023 or 24?
2023.
okay,
When I,
Yeah.
yeah, when I Google it, it's the 23rd of November.
23rd of
It's a
November,
Thursday. That's a Thursday Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
23rd.
2023.
Instead of meeting on Tuesday before Thanksgiving, because a lot of
Yeah.
people travel, we meet on the proposal that I have here is we move it up to the 14th of November.
Oh, okay.
That works.
No, I can't do that. Yeah, I won't be able to meet with you. But that's okay. You go ahead and meet. I just have another meeting at the same time on that Tuesday.
On that day.
Maybe I can change it. I'll try and change that one. That's all right.
We could bump it to the 28th, which is also a Tuesday. That's the fourth Tuesday in November.
Yeah, well, I'm in charge of that meeting, so I can change it. I'll just change it to a different day.
Okay,
Have faith. I'll just do that. They won't care.
so the motion right now on the table is we meet to adjust the dates. Tuesday, November 14th, 2023, to avoid meeting the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. The next would be meeting on the fourth Tuesday in February 2024. And then the third adjustment would be meeting on the fourth Tuesday in April, on April 23rd.
Second,
All those in favor of those scheduling adjustments? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Thank you. Robert, you got everything for minutes? Okay, Mr. VSO, you're up.
Good evening, everyone. The VSO report for May 16th, 2023. The Veterans Monthly Food and Dry Goods Support Program will be held this Wednesday, tomorrow, May 17th, behind the Senior Center from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. All 27 applicants have been notified by a volunteer. If any veteran, spouse, or immediate family member of a veteran in the community would like to participate in this program, please call our office for further information. The products are offered through the Greater Boston Food Bank and have a vast selection of meats, vegetables, and dry goods. Support for this program is also contributed by the Wakefield Food Pantry. The monthly Veterans Coffee Social will be held Saturday, May 20th, 10 a.m. to 12 noon at the McCarthy Senior Center here at 30 Converse Street, Wakefield. The entrance and parking is available at the back of the building. This month's theme is gratitude, honoring the fallen on Memorial Day. We are sharing the events and actions that veterans do, educating our community to remember the fallen who so valiantly made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms. The town of Wakefield and the team from the Department of Public Works took the time to line Main Street with the banners of the portraits of the 161 fallen who did not return from war. Thank you, Department of Public Works. The coffee and donuts will be available, donated by Honeydew on the corner pallet. Thank you, Derek, and your team for your continued generous support of our socials. We've had an influx of applications for aid attendance, burial benefits, spousal benefits, and service bonuses for active and discharged veterans. The Welcome Home Bonus Program is a Massachusetts benefit for those whose active service falls between the following dates: September 11, 2001 to the present. A veteran can apply online at the mass.gov website or contact my office for further instructions. All proper documents will be requested, such as a DD 214, discharge, or proof of service if currently active. For reserve or guard members, DD 214s are required if active for 90 days or more. For active or reserve or guard that was active for less than 90 days, concurrence from chain of command is required. This can be emailed concurrence, a memorandum, or the commanding officer form. Active service shall not include active duty for training in the National Guard or Reserves. The relatives of a deceased veteran may also apply to receive the bonuses the veteran would have received. Vietnam conflict veterans, World War II veteran, or a Korean War veteran, you can also apply for a bonus. If you are a family member of a deceased veteran of either of these wars, you can also be eligible for one of these bonuses. And for further information and details regarding the various bonus amounts, contact the Treasurer's Office at www.mass.gov, Bonus Division. Thank you to Sergeant Michael Graham for assisting us in the movement of the donated veterans items a few weeks back. We now have several flags, hats, service items to be given out through the years for Veterans District Wakefield, Melrose, and Saugus. These items will go out as awards, welcome home gifts, speaker gifts for veterans events, and socials. The yearly Summer Veteran Service Officer Training Program will be held this June in Hyannis and will encompass all the upgrades in the services to veterans and veterans' families, including the recent PACT Act legislation that was signed into law on August 10, 2022 by the President. I'll bring to the table at the June VAB meetings many of the new and valuable additions to the services. And as I mentioned each month under Chapter 115 of Massachusetts General Laws, the Commonwealth provides a uniform program of financial and medical assistance for veterans and their dependents. Qualifying veterans and their dependents receive necessary financial assistance for food, shelter, clothing, fuel, and medical care in accordance with a formula that takes into consideration the number of dependents and income from all sources. For appointments for veteran services, please contact me with any questions you may have regarding the ongoing benefits or submissions of new benefits. We're located downstairs in the back entrance of the Senior Center, 30 Converse Street, Wakefield, and is by appointment only. Thank you very much. Are there any questions at this time? Very good. Thank you.
Well done.
Hey, Dave,
Yes, sir.
this is Dale Finley. Are you going to be in tomorrow morning? Can
I
I
am
call early?
doing the food bank in Melrose, picking up the stuff at about 6:45, 7 a.m., bringing it back here to distribute it up until about noon time. You want to come by and give us a hand?
Yeah, okay. I got back some information from the VA and I need to talk to you about it. Okay,
Okay.
okay, we need to set up some.
Tomorrow wouldn't be good there, but Thursday will be fine.
Okay, sounds good.
Yes, Marion.
What are the dates that you're gonna be in Hyannis for training? Dave, do you know?
Yes, June 11th through the 15th.
11th through the 15th?
Yep.
Okay, because I think, I have Gold Star Wide representatives coming down to present something to you. We've talked to Mike Sweeney about it, so I just want to know what the dates are so I can contact the other girls.
Okay, I'll be back on the 15th. I think it's a Thursday. And more than likely, I'll be in the office Friday to pick up all the pieces of what I was away. So I'll give you an email.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Before I forget, Dale, the coffees, you're gonna be the coffee hound Saturday, correct?
Yes, no problem.
I'll let Derek know you're gonna be there.
9:30 pickup.
That's it.
Arrive at 9:45.
9:30. That's it. Great. Thank you. Thank you.
No problem.
And there will be a lot of giveaways at the social this Saturday. I'm gonna bring down some items that were donated, as I mentioned in the report. Truckload of items. And I'm telling you, right to the back door, Paul can contest to that. A truckload of veteran items were donated to the district, from flags to hats to coffee cups to figurines to all kinds of good things. And I'm gonna try to get them out of all the coffee socials so everybody gets at least one item each time for their service.
Sounds good. Yep.
Just a reminder to everybody, the flags at the cemeteries. We are going to be at Lakeside Cemetery on Monday, the 22nd at 3 o'clock. That's this coming Monday. It's a week from yesterday. So it's Lakeside Cemetery, Monday, the 22nd at 3 o'clock. And then Friday, we will be at Forest Glade Cemetery at 3 o'clock. Friday is the 26th.
And the high school, Paul, in the morning, Melrose High School.
Wakefield High School.
I mean, they say Melrose, I'm sorry, it's a district thing, it's a district. I was there for 34 years.
Melrose, you got me saying it now. There is an assembly. All veterans in town are invited to go. It's at the Wakefield Memorial High School at 9 o'clock in the morning in the field house.
I'll be sure to mention at the coffee social this Saturday too. Everyone will be there on board there if they're available, so. And Paul, I want to leave about a dozen extra flags at the offices at both Forest Glade and at Lakeside for folks that come up to the office there. In the past, I've left them and people say, oh, my father's a veteran and there's no flag at his gravesite. So they'll have some flags there. I'll leave about 20 of them at each location.
Okay.
We definitely have enough.
Okay. At this particular time, are there any questions for the Veteran Service Officer or any questions about next week's activities?
Where do you meet for the flag placement at the Lakeside Cemetery in Forest Glade?
Front door.
Just right at the gate? Okay.
Right at
Well,
the gate, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
More or less, it's the main, you go past the monument to the first responders and the firefighters there.
Yep.
And you'll see us. Right
Okay,
there.
perfect. Okay.
Right on that main road down on the ridge line.
All right, thank you.
And for Forest Glade, just, you'll see us when you go through the gate.
Great. Okay.
Okay. I'd like to move on to introduce Mr. John Carney. Mr. Carney is a veteran, a former selectman, a town council member, has requested to share his concerns with the members of the Veterans Advisory Board about the current flag policy this evening. Mr. Carney, if you recall, wrote a piece in the item titled "A Sad Time in Town," expressing concerns to both Councilor Smith Galvin and the Veterans Advisory Board about the flag policy. His article came a few days following a piece that was published in the Boston Globe that indicated, that pointed to Wakefield's flag policy, and it also compared the flag policies in surrounding communities. Just as a reminder to those of us on the board, if you recall to April 2022, the Human Rights Commission requested to remove the POW and the MIA flag and replace it with the Pride flag and the Juneteenth flags in the month of June of 2022. The town council came to the Veterans Advisory Board for advice on this matter. The board collectively took a position that this action would violate federal laws that protect the American flag and the POW and the MIA flag to be flown together on the same halyard. The Supreme Court also ruled last year against the city of Boston on a similar matter. Considering these events, the town decided to place a second flagpole at the AmeriCal Civic Center to support the interest groups who seek town council's approval to fly their flags. Mr. Carney, sir, you're up. Welcome.
Thank you, Paul, and getting Lois, Marion, and Gail, a few people I know. I've just met Paul. First of all, I wanted to clarify, I didn't ask to come to this meeting. I was asked, as you know, Paul. I was invited. I was contacted. I didn't contact anybody. And I apologize for the fact that I wrote letters personally to every single one of the councilors, not trying to make a big splash, but I sent a letter to each one of them, same letter, relative to the flag. And yet, in monitoring the meetings, I never heard anything about veterans. I heard them discuss their beliefs. I think they call them their sentiments, but I didn't hear anything about veterans. And I was totally disgusted. And I didn't think you guys were doing your job. And for that reason, I apologize, because I have found in the records that there were statements made by a number of you and provided to the town council. Okay. I think I should give you a little history here is the fact that I get out of the service. First of all, in 1965, in the spring, is when President Johnson said we need another 50,000 troops in Vietnam. I was some dumbwit kid just graduating high school, not really thinking about that. I got drafted that fall. So 3 months out of high school, I was put into the service. And to make things short, I never went to Nam, but I did get nominated in the United States Military Academy at West Point, and did well within the service. And when I get out of high school, I get in politics because they needed a veteran to run the campaign from another local young man who was running for office. So my politics is part of my history, and I want to make it clear that I understand that. But I served on the Board of Selectmen, not the council, from 2004 to 2010 in a 6-year period. 7-member board. I was chairman 3 years, so that says something about it. And then in a later Board of Selectmen, I was appointed the chairman of the town charter committee, and that's the last office I served in the town of Wakefield. I offered you, and I sent to you, Paul, a draft article that could go to town meeting. And I think that you as a board should step up and say, okay, here's the policy we want to have for the town of Wakefield regarding the flag. And it has nothing to do with sentiment. They're talking about sentiment here. And I have no problem with showing respect for the menorah during the Jewish holidays, or putting banners up and stuff like that. I have no problem with that. But when you're looking at the panorama and you're saluting the American flag, there's only one other flag that should be up there equal to it. That's a state flag. So if they're installing another flagpole at the AmeriCal Civic Center for the purpose of putting up sentiment flags, I think that is absolutely wrong. And I suggested to your board that you file an article at town meeting. Now, under section 7.2 of the town charter, any one of you, doesn't take your board, but any one of you, I suggest your board file an article to go to town meeting, not for the consideration of the council, consideration of the people. To say, okay, here's the policy we want for our American flag. Because I was insulted by what was said in the Boston Globe by one of the members. And the thing that bothers me most, ladies and gentlemen, is nobody's responded to that. Nobody has said it. None of them have said, hey, wait a minute, that's wrong. That what was said at that point in time is wrong. She could have taken the opportunity to say she was misquoted. She did not do that. So personally, that's what I'm suggesting your board do. You should file an article for the next annual town meeting and put it in writing, let the townspeople decide. I think I took less than 3 minutes, Paul. So.
Okay. So basically, the item or the issue that you pointed out in the policy that the town currently has dated June of 2022 is it does not address the state flag.
You brought that up, Paul. I didn't bring that up. And I understand that. That's not my issue. If you're going to have a second pole, though, I agree with you. It should be the state flag, not a sentiment flag.
Okay.
If they're gonna have a sentimental flag, it should be at the town hall. If they want, everybody goes to the town hall, all different cultures, everything go there, and we want to be a diverse community, a great place to have it recognized is right there at the town hall. The AmeriCal Civic Center was designed for the returning members in World War II. And Paul, you have the history on that. You know better than I do.
Dave, I was the chairman of the committees that created the AmeriCal Civic Center, that brought it to the town, and saved that building. I don't usually try to take credits for stuff, but I will. But the bottom line here is the fact that nothing in any town building in Wakefield, wherever you're displaying the American flag, should you have anything in the panorama of that flag. When I go up to salute the United States American flag, I can look at the state flag, I look at the
POW.
yeah, right. But I'm not going to look at any other what they call sentimental flag. And trust me, I'll donate to put that banner anywhere else. Put it on the bandstand. Not where I'm going to be looking at the American flag to salute it, to pay respect to my country. That's what our veterans died for. I think that's an insult to everybody. And secondly, in the wording, Paul, you used in your letter, and you might not have meant that. The town council, Tom Mullen, is going to draft a legal policy or article for town meeting based on the wishes of the town council. He's not saying that's a legal answer. He's saying that this is the way to do it if that's what you want to do. The article that I sent you to Paul, I don't know if you shared that with the committee. I edited it, rough draft. Okay, that is totally legal. That will pass in town. Well, you have to get the people down there. You have to get the veterans down there, town meeting, to pass their town meeting and take the sentiment out of it, take the decision-making out of the politicians' hands. Say, hey, this is how we want to respect our flag, and put it in writing and let the townspeople decide. I apologize. I do get emotional about these things. I apologize. You know,
John,
Glad you do.
John, I'd like to see you at the coffee social Saturday, where we can bring that point across to all the veterans, and we can go as a herd to that meeting.
yeah. I will show up one of these days. I promise.
All right.
Can I ask Bob, do I understand that this was never really brought forward for this new flagpole to go up by anybody? If that town council just did it? I don't remember hearing anything about it.
You're asking me. At our meeting in March, I forget which day it was in March, whether it was the 13th or 27th, we were informed that a second flagpole was being built at the Americal.
So it was never really discussed
So
among.
the town council asked for clarification because we knew there was only one flagpole at the Americal, and we were informed at that meeting that the second flagpole was being built. So it would be legally correct to say that the town council did not vote, certainly that night, to build a second flagpole at the Americal because that decision had already been made.
Who would that decision have been made by? Who made that decision? It wasn't the town council.
The town administrator has informed us that a town council member, I do not know whom, requested that the second flagpole, it could have been more than one town council member. Certainly it wasn't a majority, but because that would require, an open meeting, requested it. I don't know any further facts.
So
Okay.
another single town councillor requested the flagpole be installed. Is that
That's my
correct?
understanding. The town council did not make that decision at that meeting. Now, there was some discussion that when the original flag policy was passed back in June of 2022, there was discussion of eventually building a second flagpole. The reason is that it never went beyond a discussion was because at that time, the library had two flagpoles, and the library had agreed to fly other flags on the second flagpole. But the library, in light of the Supreme Court decision that had come out in the spring of 2022, by last winter, was concerned about having the flags fly at their second flagpole. They consulted with Mr. Mullen, and then they decided not to fly any other flags on that second flagpole.
I think
Believe
it's
the
called a camp.
Town building, right?
Sorry,
The library is a town building?
it is not a town building. No, so
Does
the
it-
library, the Board of Library Trustees makes the decision on what flags to fly, if any, on their flagpoles. That is not town property. So that falls under the jurisdiction of the Board of Library Trustees. So the town council didn't have any say on that. To Mr. Carney's note, he is accurate that under the town charter, any 10 voters can put forward a warrant article. If you watched any of that meeting, you would have heard me say that I do believe that, personally speaking, that a bylaw is one way to go because I'm a strong believer that the Attorney General's office reviews all bylaws and makes sure that it's constitutional. So my feeling that I articulated at that meeting was that I was more of a proponent for a bylaw so that we do get that protection from litigation by having the Attorney General's office opine that our flag policy bylaw is constitutional. That's different than if it's a flag policy promulgated by the town council. But if you watched it, you saw that the vote was 5-2 in favor of it. I was one of the people that voted against the flag policy.
But Bob, you, as a council, or any one of the members of this board could file an article by yourself,
That's correct.
7.2, but it would come across, and I'd be proud, and I'd be standing there with you. I don't have that capability because I'm not appointed to anything. If the board, the advisory board files the article, because now it's a Veterans Advisory Board is presenting their viewpoint, not to the councilors, but to the town meeting for the citizens to act.
And that's certainly an option that, like I said, any 10 registered voters, whether they're members of the Veterans Advisory Board or not, could do. There wasn't any time to put forth a town bylaw warrant article, even if anyone was inclined to do so, because the warrant article period closed in very early April. And the notification about the second flagpole being built was in very late March.
No, I'm saying for future purposes.
For future purposes, a warrant. Yes, I mean, that is certainly something that could be done, proposed in the future, right? For next fall.
So why don't we take a vote on it tonight?
Well, I mean, you can certainly do that.
But I think that
Very
the
complicated.
board should have time to speak amongst themselves and decide what they want to do and not just rush into a vote.
Well, yeah,
Um,
and I also ponder whether it might be advisable. I mean, you also have the option of appearing before town council.
right.
I don't know the last time the Veterans Advisory Board came in to give an update on the things that you do in town. Sometimes not sometimes, on a very regular basis, we have town departments and volunteer boards, committees, and commissions come and give a presentation of what they've been doing over the last year. That might be a good way to come in and talk to the town council.
You don't need the permission of the town council. Just put an article at town meeting.
No, that's correct. I didn't say you did at all.
I don't think that was Bob's point.
I said any 10 voters can do it. And you can, what I was saying is, if you want to get your voice heard, just as an extra opportunity to be heard, you could come before the town council. You are correct. You do not need the town council permission to put together a warrant article. I just thought it might give you an opportunity to have some dialogue with the town council.
My point, ladies and gentlemen, is they didn't have a dialogue with you, did they?
Right.
No.
This
No,
whole
not about-
policy was done around you.
Mr. Carney, you're correct. There was no dialogue as to where a second flagpole on public property would be placed.
No, there wasn't a dialogue, according to the records that I got from town hall, on the flag issue at all. You individually, Marion, I saw a letter Marion sent in. I saw one from the former chairman. But when they discussed it, Paul, I didn't hear the word coming out of their mouth. Well, we discussed it with the veterans.
Well, I wasn't on the town council last
I know you weren't.
spring of 2022, but it is my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, that the Human Rights Commission and the Veterans Advisory Board spoke before the town council promulgated its flag policy.
That-
We
that-
had the
that is
human rights
correct. And
representation come here and speak with us at one of our meetings too. We talked with them before we went, I believe it was before we went to the town council, was it not, Paul?
we spoke with, Human Rights Commission came in and, Benny Wheat came in and, put the request to, remove the POW and the MIA flag and put the pride flag up at the AmeriCal.
No.
And that's when we had the discussion and the feedback and the vote came back, at a subsequent meeting, combined with the decision from the Supreme Court, inspired the town to say, we need to update our flag policy.
Seems like they did a little bit more than just change the flag policy, though.
Right, I think, I do. I think we need time to just absorb what John has said and vote and talk amongst ourselves as part of this board. I don't think we should just right now just jump into a decision. I think it's something we need to talk over and decide what we do going forward. That's just my opinion. And because I'm also not happy about the fact that the town administrator just says we're putting up a new pole, and it was never brought forth for anybody for discussion. It was never obviously brought forth to the town council for discussion. It was just, it's happening.
Well,
That's it. That's not there.
just to clarify, the town administrator didn't say he made the decision to build.
No, but I
the
mean,
flagpole.
He had a part in making the decision, obviously. People came to him and he had a part of making the decision. But the entire council did not have a part in making the decision, which is that's what you're there for. Two people should not be able to make a 2 or 1, whatever, make a decision such as that, especially where we had already gone over it the year before on what the feelings were about the flags. Having anything to take away from the American and POW flags. Cannot be.
I have a question. Is anybody aware on that second poll on the Juneteenth, are they going to be flying the LGBTQ flag there, the rainbow flag on that pole at the AmeriCal Center? Is that what's coming about? Or are we going to put the Massachusetts state flag up there, which we do not have in this town and need to have in this town? I have one right here in my office that I'll donate to put on that flag permanently if they want it.
Those are very good points. Let me ask a question regarding who paid for this flagpole that went up and what authorization was used to provide the funds.
I can answer that, Dale.
Yeah, okay.
Right now, there is no information as to how the flagpole was paid for that has been made public.
Does the town manager have discretionary of something in the range of $10,000 just to say, we're going to do this?
More money.
Huh?
It's close to 18,000 to put one up a flagpole.
Well, I think there's a
18,000?
grant available for a
Closer to
Massachusetts
that.
flag to be put up on a pole like that.
So I did, Dale, I did ask the town council, I asked the town administrator where the funds came from, and the response that I got back from him in an email were along the lines of, we have the service flags that the town purchased and they're in the town hall. Okay, they'll be displayed at the high school. They'll be displayed on the stage for Memorial Day. They were displayed on the stage for Veterans Day. In the past, the reason we bought those, the town bought those, is because we were using Melrose's service flags for our ceremonies up until last year. Okay, and it was kind of a tit. So the answer I got from the town administrator was tit for tat. Okay. One of the things that I will say, kind of to summarize this, I have a question for Mr. Carney. And when the purchase of the AmeriCal by the town, the AmeriCal Civic Center by the town was underway, did you have any connection with the AmeriCal Foundation?
No,
No.
we Representative Tony Gallucci in the early 70s. The state put the armories up for sale. And he, along with the Senator McGrail, who was from Wakefield as well, kind of, got that going. And so the town got the building. And of course, at that era, was the early 70s, we had the what they call it, the program we had hiring people. I'm trying to see the program. And so basically there was an opportunity to get a building. We hired people under Cedar and managed the building, and nobody really knew what they're going to do with it. It was kind of like awkward at the
It
time.
was basically the transition of the armory to the town.
Absolutely. And so
Right.
then there were a number of, in fact, the late Wally Mosher was a member of the Americal division. And there were a whole group of veterans, VFW members,
Yes,
who were members of Americal.
right.
And so that the idea came up to dedicate it to them. They were delighted, and we were proud to do that.
The reason I ask that question is the Americal Foundation does manage properties and memorials throughout the country. And I don't know if this one is one of those.
No, it
listed.
wasn't affiliated at all.
Okay. I think, can somebody put a motion on the floor here to, Marion, I think you're right, that this needs a little bit more dialogue.
Yeah.
And then discussion. And I would kind of summarize that it's also an opportunity for us to test the current flag policy. I know that not all of us agree with that current flag policy, but the test may also generate interest to support what we're talking about here. Okay, about how that decision was made, where to put the flag.
Right.
Okay, and I'm not trying to deny other groups and organizations from raising a flag to show their pride, to show their support for Juneteenth and the end of slavery. I am a little concerned that this is in front of a military building, the former armory called the Americal Civic Center. Most are referring to it in their words as the Civic Center, but it is the Americal Civic Center.
Right.
And that refers to a division that fought in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. So there are some residents that and some veterans that may be affiliated with that unit. That's a concern that the board, that's a concern that I have personally, and that is a concern that we have collectively as a board.
If I may, sir, just for 1 minute, before we transition off this topic. So just to put in perspective, I am the senior enlisted advisor in the 182 Infantry, which traces its lineage to the 23rd Infantry Division to Americal. So I just finished a deployment with over 500 soldiers led. It was called Task Force Americal. I also led the same task force in the Capitol in 2021 for the presidential inauguration. So Americal is very near and dear to my heart, being one of the only surviving units that traces its lineage to New Caledonia, where the 23rd fought. In fact, my radio call sign is Americal 7. I think I have a different perspective on this, a different outlook. Maybe it's a generational divide. I'm not sure what it is. But our veterans, took an oath to defend the Constitution. But beyond that, to kind of embrace American ideals, right? And one of those ideals is celebrating diversity in the community and the country. And I don't think, my perspective, no one else's, I don't think that a special observance flag somehow takes away from the significance of the federal flag. The federal flag flies in countries all over the world alongside the host nation flag. I've saluted it side by side with a dozen other countries' flags, and never once have I looked at the American flag and said, ooh, it really shouldn't be next to that flag. As long as it sits in the position of prominence, which is the leftmost part, and it's the highest flag, I think that the symbology of the American flag is still captured. So I have a different outlook on this, and I only shared the backstory with my experience, not to sell my point of view as something of my organizations, but just to kind of give you that I have an emotional connection to what we're talking about also.
Okay. Well put. Thank you very much, Chris.
And this is why, one of the reasons I think we should I think I make a motion that we table this until the next meeting where we can have make it a big part of our meeting and really be able to discuss this on how we want to go forward. Because there are different aspects of how people feel. I mean, I don't have any problem with them as long as Chris said, I don't have any problem with them flying that flag as long as it's below the American flag. And, you know, as I said in my letter to the town council, I don't have any prejudice. I mean, my daughter is binary and she's married to a gay woman. So I have nothing against them showing those things, as long as they're done respectfully to the American flag and the POW flag. So, I mean, that's a discussion for almost a full meeting. So I want to make a motion to table this until we can discuss it at the next meeting.
Second,
Yep, second.
Can I make one little rant? Can I make one little rant?
Go ahead.
On June 14th is Flag Day. That's a very important day to me. And even John Carney can say to himself at Lincoln School, next to Memorial Day, that was one of the biggest days of the year. And I think on June 14th, the only flag that should be on any pole should be the American flag with the POW flag. And that's it. June 14th is a day dedicated to that American flag. And I fought for it and I'll defend it to the end. But on June 14th, that is Flag Day. It's not a federal holiday, but it's a holiday to me. And I think John remembers us parading out in front of the Lincoln School around that concrete flagpole.
No, I agree, Danny.
Well, I think that there's another reason. There's room for discussion on this. And I think, we should just table it. I make the motion. It's been seconded to table it to the next meeting.
A few years ago, we raised one flag in the morning and we raised another flag later in the afternoon. And that should never happen. It should be Flag Day for the American flag and the only flag.
You want to take a vote, Paul?
Hank, we have a motion to table the conversation to the next meeting in June. It's been seconded. I'm willing to add that we put a request in that on June 14th, we fly nothing but the American flag.
You want us to vote on that right now?
yeah.
I'd like to vote on that right now, yes.
You've got to
Yes.
vote on not for nothing, but you got to vote on the first motion before you can make a second motion.
Yes.
Okay.
So you got to vote on my motion and then you can make a motion on the June 14th, which is my birthday. So I want it up all by.
So all those let's split this. So we have a motion on the table that's been seconded, okay, to table the conversation until the next meeting in June, on June 20th. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. There is another motion that Dan has made, and that is that we approach the town council to fly only the American flag on Flag Day in town.
I second that.
Second. Okay, to fly the American flag on Flag Day. All those in favor?
May I just ask a
Aye.
question before I vote?
Go ahead, Chris.
Was there a proposal by some organization to fly a different flag during on June 14th, Flag Day and the Army's birthday, or is this just an arbitrary kind of blanket policy?
No, the human rights have want that their flag, two flags, flown practically all of June, which would include June 14th.
Yeah, what we're asking for, Chris, is that they take down their flag for June 14th and we just fly the American flag. They have requested the entire month of June to fly the pride flag. And then on June 19th, they want to take the pride flag down and they want to fly the Juneteenth flag.
And on June 14th, the Boy Scouts in Wakefield and also the American Legion for years at 6 p.m. has done a flag retirement ceremony on the Common, and rightfully so.
Yes. And we should be there for that ceremony that the Boy Scouts are doing.
Okay, so we voting on that?
So Dan has a motion that needs to be, I believe it was seconded.
Yep.
Robert?
Yep.
Okay. Dan's motion is that we approach town council with a request to fly nothing but the American flag on Flag Day. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any
Chris,
abstentions? We have.
Yeah, I'll
Are
do
you
that.
opposed or are you abstaining?
I'll abstain from voting.
Got it.
Okay, you got it, Robert?
Yep.
Okay. Mr. Carney, I want to thank you very much for stepping up and joining us. It's a pleasure to have a person with your experience and wisdom, and you are always welcome. And to follow up on what the VSO said, the coffee on Saturday at 10 o'clock at the Council on Aging, it would be inspirational experience, to say the least.
God bless you.
I encourage you to come.
Paul,
John,
go ahead.
I want to thank you for what you do. So a couple of our classmates every year that on Veterans Day and I believe Memorial Day, thank you very much for doing that. And we had several of our classmates we always remember.
I'll visit them shortly, Danny. Thank you.
Paul, I'm
gonna
gonna
go-
have to leave because I have a Gold Star Wives meeting in 4 minutes. And I have to, I'm running the meeting, so
Okay.
I'm not gonna be here for Memorial Day. I'll be in Washington DC, so you can discuss that without me.
Okay, the next item on the agenda, I did
Bye
it,
all.
Hey, wait a minute, Paul. Paul,
yes.
the town council meets on the 22nd of May and then doesn't meet again till the 12th of June. So if you're gonna make a request based on what you guys just voted on, you're gonna need to have a letter before the town council within the next day or two, because the agenda gets set. The agenda is gonna be set either by tomorrow or Thursday if you want it on for the 22nd of May.
I can do
Otherwise, you're
that.
not getting on the agenda until 12 June.
I will do that.
Okay.
I have two more items. Take a look at the Memorial Day program. That is a draft program. It has not been finalized. I am waiting on two individuals. I'm waiting for a response from Congressman Seth Moulton's office, whether he's a thumbs up or not available to join us. And I'm also waiting for Representative Don Wong to join us. I'm sure he will. I just don't have a response from him yet. And the proclamation will be read by Robert, and Dale has got the naming, and we need to work on the script a little bit, Dale.
Sure.
You know, just to update it, and I will take care of that and get that off to you. Okay. To get that done. Anything else? The only other thing in there, take a look, David, you're up with your, I've got you as the Veteran Service Officer for the town of Wakefield doing the opening remarks. I will,
Okay.
okay, that was a good piece that you wrote. Any other questions that you may have on the flow of that ceremony? And it's Andy Biggio, the author of The Rifle. I know it's backwards.
No, it's not. It's actually perfect.
That looked right.
Excellent.
How'd you do that?
Any questions on Memorial Day? I think it's pretty wrapped up. The last item that we have is we have to approve the minutes from April. Do I have a motion from the team here to approve the minutes from
I
April?
make a motion.
Aye.
All those in favor of the minutes from April?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? None. All right. I don't have anything else on the agenda. The
Hey,
next,
Paul, can I just have 30 seconds?
sure.
Two things. You did mention about the Soldiers and Sellers memorial, the $300,000 being allocated last night at town meeting to repair that. The town is also applying for a matching grant. We should know in June whether we get that grant, which could be $50,000 to $100,000. And then there's another grant in November that the town is going to be applying for, though that has a cap of $15,000. And I've talked to the Department of Public Works and emphasized to them that April 2025 is the 160th anniversary of the end of the Civil War. So it would certainly be good to have those repairs done prior to that date, if possible. The last thing is, this may be my last meeting as your liaison. We are assigned by the town council chair as liaisons on an annual basis. We're going to be having our town council retreat on 5 June. And sometime shortly after that, we'll find out what our new assignments are as far as being liaisons. So if this is my last meeting with you all, I've certainly enjoyed being your liaison for my first year on town council.
Thank you, Bob.
Bob, I could not have asked for a better representative for the veterans at town meetings. You've done a really, really good job, and I appreciate the work and the effort that you have done on the town council. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Could I just ask on Flag Day, are we doing
What?
anything on Flag Day at all?
The Boy Scouts have got the ceremony on Flag Day at the the retirement ceremony for flags at the memorial. I don't have details on it. I believe the ceremony starts at 6 o'clock on June 14th. More to come about that. And I will get the letter off to our town council, and I'm assuming, Bob, that letter goes to Counselor Chines.
Yeah, I would send it to him and Steve Mayo. both.
Okay. Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much for joining. I appreciate your time. And our next meeting is June 20th. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And Lois, thanks everybody for voting for the sign.